Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alice. If you're new here, I love to chat about money and show you a little bit about my life. So within the last 3 years, my husband and I, we have actually doubled our household income, and I wanted to take a look into lifestyle creep and kind of see how our lives really have changed since we doubled our income. And I want to show you guys what has changed since then, how much it cost us, and if it was worth it in my opinion. So let's get into this. Okay, so I've got the numbers here on my laptop to see what has changed. Let's start off with the biggest one, and that is housing. 3 years ago, we were living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and that cost, I think it was honestly around like $999, so they could say apartments from the 900s. It was really cheap, at least 900s is really cheap here for your own apartment. I don't know about where you guys live, but it was super new, super nice. We were the first people to have ever lived in it. It had quartz countertops. The only issue is that it was in a really tiny town, which wasn't near our family or anything. It was very cold and very windy there. And it was, how do I put this? It wasn't very safe. Like, it wasn't a neighborhood or a location in which you could just walk outside your front door and go for a walk or go for a run. I definitely did not feel comfortable with that. It was in a non-desirable location, so I think that's why it was pretty cheap, but it was so new and so nice, so that was really awesome. So then fast forward, I mean, we did live in a basement apartment for like 4 or 5 months or 6 months, I can't remember, but we were not charged any rent. We were living with our in-laws, and that was honestly the way that we were able to save a lot of money. When you're not making a ton of money, any housing, even $1,000 for rent, that's still $1,000 that you would be able to save. And I just feel like if you want to save a lot of money fast, it's so hard when you do have to pay rent and your income is a little bit lower. So we lived in that basement apartment, and that still to this day is one of the biggest financial blessings that we've ever been gifted, to live in a basement apartment. It was just one room, there was no separate kitchen, like no nothing, but it helped us to save so much more money, and we were able to get into our house. I wouldn't say that was a lifestyle that we chose to live, it was just a short-term solution to be able to save for a house. But yeah, so basically we went from $1,000 to now we own a single family home with 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths in a nice neighborhood where you can walk out the front door and it's not dangerous or anything, which is super convenient, but we definitely paid a lot for the location that we live. So we went from paying just under $1,000 a month for rent to now we pay $2,950.95. So that's definitely a huge lifestyle creep. We could easily still be living in that 1-bedroom apartment up in northern Utah. Like, there's no reason why we had to come move down here. We chose to transfer department, so it's like we still could be living there. So buying this house definitely was a lifestyle creep decision that has cost over $2,000 a month basically for us to live in a house versus an apartment up in a smaller, tinier town. So the big question is, was this worth it? And I will say yes, it was, but it's only worth it because of certain things in our life. And I totally get why other people choose to rent versus buy. So we are planning on staying in this house for a decade. We definitely want to stay here for a long time. We also want to have multiple children, hopefully. That's the goal. And we always wanted to raise them in a single family home in which we don't have to be worried if we have to move at the drop of a hat because our landlord is not good anymore or they're selling it and we don't get a say. So we do have family that rents like awesome apartments. It's such a great deal for them, and it's such a great location, and it's a great just like situation overall. But for us, we really are paying a premium to live in our preferred housing, which is a single family home that we own. So I totally get why you would rent versus buy, but for us, it just made sense. We're not saving money by paying a mortgage. We are paying a premium. We are paying to fix everything. We paid $20,000 to put in a yard. Like, we're paying a lot for it, but it really was our intentional decision. And I will say, when we first bought our house, our mortgage was at least 40% of our take-home pay. And now it is 30% of our take-home pay after investing, after taxes, after health insurance and all that kind of stuff. That 10% has made a huge difference. We feel so much more comfortable in our house now that it is only 30% of our take-home pay. But yeah, overall, going from $1,000 to $3,000 a month has been worth it for us. So I'll say yes, that is a lifestyle creep that we wanted to choose, and it's been great for us. Okay, moving on to cars. I feel like cars are a pretty big financial decision. at least they can be. Like, some people buy really expensive cars or some people buy less expensive cars, and I just feel like kind of where we live, in order to take public transportation, you have to live right by public transportation because sometimes there's no buses that take you there, and then you have to work right by public transportation as well. It's not like walking is not really a thing. Like, it's just not, it doesn't really work here. But when we were making half as much as we do now, we were driving 2 sedans. So my husband had a car that he was like, his parents bought and he was using, and he was going to take out a personal loan to pay them back, but then they ended up being like, oh, if you don't want to actually buy it, we're just going to offer it to someone else. And we were super grateful that they did that because we didn't want to have to take out a personal loan. Also, that was when cars were really expensive, like bought at the peak and stuff, so it was nice that we didn't have to actually pay for that. So then we were down to 1 car for a long time, and that 1 car was a 2007 Honda Accord. And while we were in that apartment, the bumper did get ripped off because we hit a snowbank. But yeah, so we had 1 car for a long time, and we actually just got a second car in, I think, February. We just got a second car in February. We bought it for $10,000 and we paid it off in I think like 5 months. So we have 2 cars that we own right now. I feel like for me, going from a sedan to a midsize SUV is lifestyle creep because everything with the midsize SUV costs more money. And was that lifestyle creep worth it? I would say yes, but it has cost us in ways that I didn't realize it was gonna cost us. So yes, I always knew that having 2 cars, you're gonna have to double your expenses. So yes, the expenses have definitely increased, and we have started a car sinking fund that is strictly for car maintenance, not even for car emergencies, just literally car maintenance. Like, we have to put like $500 to $1,000 in our cars every year, like. But I will say, having a second car has cost us in time and effort. I feel like every time I turn around, I have to take time off of work to go take the car in, or something is wrong with the car and then we have to call in and we have to wait a few days and we can't use that car, and just like all this kind of stuff happens where I just feel like we're putting so much time into our cars. Like, for example, both of our cars right now need oil changes or they're getting close. And so it's like, okay, when are we gonna take time off of work to go and get those things done? And where are we gonna go? And who's gonna be open? And like all this time. And you show up to these oil change places, it might like take an hour to an hour and a half to even get your car looked at for an oil change. And then they take all this time to do all these things, to offer you all these things that you don't need and all this kind of stuff. So anyways, I just wanna say, yes, it's worth it in the money aspect, but the time aspect, I just kind of feel pretty annoyed. The fact that we have to spend so much time on our cars. So yes, having a second car, that lifestyle creep, that's all good with me, especially because we bought super affordable cars from family. We did not buy any sort of fancy car, which I do know that buying cars from family is a privilege in itself because not everyone has that option. But yeah, it has required more than just money, it's required time as well. So that is something to think about when you go from 1 to 2 cars. Okay, so housing and cars, I feel like those were the 2 really big things. Now there are some like smaller-ish things that we've done lifestyle creep on, so we're gonna go through that and we're gonna see if those are worth it. So another category that we have inflated our spending in is buying clothes. So I was a minimalist for a long time, not because I'm better than anyone, just because stuff literally gave me anxiety and I have been getting over that anxiety. Minimalism is good for your wallet, but for me, because it was anxiety based, it was not good for my mind. It was not good for my relationship with money. It was like extreme scarcity mindset. Anyways, I kind of went like 5 years, whatever, without buying any clothes. And now I definitely do buy clothes. I will say I don't go crazy. I mean, I go as crazy as you can for someone who shops at Old Navy, but this year I've definitely spent a lot more money on clothes than I ever have in the past. I'll say, like, it's not uncommon for me to spend like $100 to $150 on clothes every month, when a few years ago that was completely unheard of for me. I would go years without buying any clothes. So the question, is it worth it when it comes to buying more clothes and that kind of lifestyle creep? I want to say yes. But here's the thing, back when I never really bought clothes, I felt like I didn't have enough clothes. Like, I would go and get dressed in the morning and I'd be like, I have nothing to wear. Now when I go and get dressed, I still kind of feel like I have nothing to wear sometimes. So I'm confused. Like, yes, I'm happy that I have more clothes, but why does it still feel like I don't have that many clothes to wear? Is that just like a universal thing? Like, no matter how many clothes you wear, you're never gonna have enough? This is so interesting. Do any of you guys have a wardrobe where you're like, I truly love all the clothes in my closet and I always have something to wear? Because if so, then like, how do you get to that point? I know people that spend so much money on clothes and they just keep spending money on clothes and they still don't feel like they have enough clothes. The lifestyle creep on clothes is kind of worth it, maybe worth it, but I wish it was just more effective. We went from 1 car to 2 car. That has really made a huge impact in our lives, but when it comes to clothes, I feel like I spend money and it doesn't make any impact on my life. So that's just me. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say about that. Okay, another small category is like home decorations and like decor in general. So when we lived in an apartment, we did not decorate at all. Now we definitely buy a lot more decor. I feel like I'm buying decor. I'm not really like a decorate everything all the time, but when a holiday strikes, I'm buying decorations. Like I'm going to Hobby Lobby, I'm going to Target. Do we go anywhere else? Nope, I think that's it. I definitely, Halloween hits and I can't help myself. Christmas will hit and I'll buy even more decorations for Christmas and I just get super excited, and we bought outdoor decorations and all that kind of stuff. And I will say that kind of stuff to me is totally worth it. I spent, I think, like $150 on Halloween decor this year, and to me, like 100% worth it. I love it. It makes me so happy, especially because I buy a lot of stuff 50% off. That's the thing, is Halloween decorations or just decorations for holidays or the house in general would not be worth it to me unless I can buy it on sale. Okay, and then when it comes to the actual furniture in our house, yeah, so our apartment was very sparse when it came to furniture. Our bedroom was just like a bed and a TV stacked on cardboard boxes, and then our living room was a couch and a coffee table, and we never even sat on the couch. I think we sat on it twice the entire time we was there, because like, if there's no TV, then we're not gonna sit on the couch. And then our kitchen table was a card table and folding chairs. So we went from not really having that much, like really bare bones, to having a lot of not a lot of furniture. I will say, when it comes to lifestyle creep for furniture, my answer is that it is not worth it if the furniture is expensive, and here's why. So basically, I really like to live in my house. I like to live in my house, and if I buy anything that's expensive, I am not only paying for it with money because it's expensive, but I also am paying for it with my like mental effort. If we buy anything nice, like it's only a matter of time before our cats throw up on it, like, if I'm gonna be honest. To me, like, I'm so grateful we bought inexpensive rugs. All of the rugs in our house were 50% off. I did not buy a single rug full price. We bought our couch for half price. They're actually not very destructive cats, but if I bought a $5,000 couch, I would be so mad at them every time they scratched it. So for me, expensive furniture as a lifestyle creep is not worth it. Like, we bought a chair, we bought it on sale, though, it was 40% off, but it was still like one of those nicer chairs, and honestly, I felt relieved when our cats scratched it finally. Like, it's ruined, it's not perfect anymore. I'm so grateful that I don't have to worry about it anymore. So yes, for me, when it comes to lifestyle creep of like bringing stuff into your home and having the furniture that you need, that's definitely worth it to me. But luxury, expensive, nice furniture, absolutely not, because it makes me miserable. It literally makes me miserable. Alrighty, and then let's go to the little teeny tiny things that have been tiny little lifestyle creep things that we've done. So number one, we buy much nicer toilet paper than we used to. I'm sorry, I'm done with the cheap toilet paper. I like to buy the Cottonelle super nice stuff. Okay, I went from this mascara to this mascara, huge lifestyle creep, but it is like twice as expensive. I would say my husband plays golf more. I've only gotten like one extra subscription now that we make more money. And then I will say one thing that I do think is 100% worth it that we do is when we have family come to stay in town, we buy all the food, we buy everything they could possibly need when they're here, and that is one of my favorite lifestyle creep things ever. That's something super important to me, so that is worth it. Yes, our life used to cost much less, thousands of dollars less each month. Here's how I know that our lifestyle right now is worth it, and I'm totally fine paying thousands of dollars more for each month than we used to. And that is because when we were living in that first apartment and we were making half as much money as we used to, we were investing $726 and we weren't really able to save very much money. Now we invest over $2,000 every single month, and that does not include employer match, and we're able to save at least $1,500 a month. So I would say, I think lifestyle creep is all good as long as we are hitting our saving and investing goal and it's intentional and making our life be the way we want it to be. Anyways, thank you guys so much for chatting about lifestyle creep. I'm very interested to hear if you guys have had any like big lifestyle creep moments in your life, and if those have been worth it for you, because I feel like it kind of has a really negative connotation, but for us it has been really good. There's also been things that we're like, maybe we should avoid that. And there's been times where we're not intentional, and there are times where we are intentional, and I just feel like as long as we're on the path and on the road to being intentional and using our money wisely, and we're hitting our savings and investing goals, then I'm all good. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye!